still in the loo. But when she comes back, we can all look at her and say, we know where you've been.
You probably haven't been given a moment's thought to this over the break, but are there any burning questions that occur to you in the break that you can address before we move on? I'll ask some questions of you just so that I get an idea of who I'm dealing with. How many of you are artists? Okay. How many of you are not music, not mastering use of music side? You've been theatre for all. Oh, you poor buggers. Thank you for staying attentive. But as somebody said to me at the beginning of the session, you never quite know where your career's going to go. So knowing something about other areas of the business, and also, theatre, music theatre is that if you look at the West End, almost every second production is musical theatre. So I think if you're doing theatre studies, you can't possibly ignore the music side. So thank you for your attention anyway. I'm going to look at some other sources of, other than the traditional ones, of earnings of music. They're still fairly mainstream. I'm not going too off beam here, but I'm looking at publishing income now, and obviously by publishing income I mean the income that comes from use of your songs, music and lyrics. Here again, we've been seeing some new laws coming through. One already in place, and the other coming in for April. It's very annoying the way the government's doing this, because I am trying to write the new edition of that book at the moment. It has to be in by the end of March. So I have to do the law as at probably the end of February. And every week they announce a new change, which means I have to go and change another chapter. It's very annoying. But the latest change on the publishing side is a rather obscure one. It's not one that I paid much attention to before, but actually it's quite interesting. Well, it is to nerdy people like me. When you write a song lyrics, so you write music for with words, right? You have two separate copyrights. You have a copyright in the music, and you have a copyright in the words. And copyright lasts for the life of the person who created it, plus 70 years. And so, until last November, it was actually technically possible for the copyright in the words to run out before the copyright in the music, which was a bit bizarre. And because most of us are not around for somebody's life plus 70 years, nobody really paid a hell of a lot of attention to it, to be honest. But part of this Hargreaves review was to look at all these odd anomalies and tidy them up. And so now we have a situation where if the music and the words are written to be together, that you take the copyright from the end of the year in which the last of them dies. So it will all expire together now. It is of interest, I suspect, to people who only write lyrics, as opposed to those who write the words and the music together. But it is a change that was brought in by the same changes that brought in the extension of the recording copyright. The other one is what they call orphan works. Government is, and Brussels in particular, is getting terribly worked up about orphan works, and the rest of us can't, for life, let's work out why. Orphan works are ones that you can't find the owner of. And it's actually more of a problem for photographs. People are, and online in particular, people are finding a nice image online and they're thinking, oh, I fancy, having that, thank you very much. And they don't really know who put the image up there, and they don't really try very hard to find it. They say, oh, well, I couldn't find it, I tried, I couldn't find whose it was, it's okay, isn't it, I can use it. can't find the owner of the work, you can't use it. Because you have to get permission of the owner of the work. So if you haven't had permission, you can't use it. So it's more of a problem for the photography world, I think, rather than music. Because generally speaking, you kind of know, you can trace back where the music has come from. You know, we've got databases of PRS and their equivalents worldwide, which will probably track down, you know, most songs. But the government has decided that this is a problem. And its solution to it is bizarre. It's decided that if you make reasonable inquiries and you can't find out who owns something, that you have to pay for a license anyway, and the money is held by the Intellectual Property Office, like they know what to do with it. So the civil service down in Newport, wonderful. And they're going to hold on to it for some unspecified period of time, and then what are they going to do with it? We don't know. They probably use it all to pay for the salaries of the people that are operating the scheme. We're waiting, as you can tell, for the detail on this, but this is how the government is proposing to deal with this. So if you find a piece of music and sometimes you see it in books actually. You'll see it, we've tried our best to find who owns these photographs in this book. We haven't been able to. Please come forward and let us know, and we'd be happy to give you a credit and pay for a license. You sometimes see that in the back of books. It's a sort of to deal with that issue, and they're now saying if you get into that situation, you can't just put it in your book and put that nice little get out clause. You have to actually come to us. We'll issue a commercial license. Oh, money for all broke for the lawyers, because these civil servants are not going to know what commercial rates are, so they're going to have to come to experts for what is the commercial rate. Anybody want a job in Newport? Because I think there's probably going to be some going sometime soon. I can't recommend Newport, but it is quite near Cardiff, so Cardiff's nice. My hometown. So Orphan Works is going to be licensed through the Intellectual Property Office. Of slightly more worry to us in publishing is parody. Somebody in the government has been got to by YouTube, I suspect, because the government minister, so transparent, has actually kind of said, well, we must encourage people to create parody, because if you just go on YouTube and see all these parody videos, aren't they brilliant? Okay, somebody's got to you, fine, right. And so the idea is that by learning how to create a parody video, you are somehow learning the skills that will make you more able to get a job in the 21st century. That is honestly the logic behind this. Because you can make a parody video, you're obviously going to be economically a lot more viable. Whoa. Good lobbyists at YouTube, that's all I can say. So, as a consequence of this, they have now decided in government that we are going to have an exception from copyright for parody works. Again, the consultation draft legislation is floating around at the moment, but they're not having any changes to it. It is coming in April, whether we like it or not. But we don't like it, because there is no definition of what a parody, a caricature, or a send-up is. So again, wonderful work for the lawyers, because now we'll have to do loads of cases to decide what's a parody work, what's a caricature, etc.
Does that include any income you gain from a parody?
Yeah.
So if I went and made a video of someone else's song and played it as a parody, I'd get the income?
Yeah, not the people you parodied, right? Because it's treated as an exception. You don't have to ask permission, because apparently it's great for society to be able to create wonderful, wacky caricature videos. I mean, there was a really great one that was done by a bunch of people in Newport, funnily enough, which went viral last year and was absolutely nuts, and we all loved it. But, you know, whether that is a good enough reason to say that we should make an exception for the whole of copyright on the back of that, I'm really not sure.
Just talking about parodies, a big thing at the moment, have you heard about the Dunn Starbucks that's been, basically, there's somebody that's opened a coffee chain called Dunn Starbucks and used exactly the same logo, absolutely everything, because they said that it's a, but I was just, as you were talking about, I just had a Google, and Starbucks have changed their frequently asked questions and things to kind of rule out that they can't keep running. That makes sense. Like they've changed their policies to hopefully close down.
Yeah, there's also a trademark dispute on that one, on the back of that one as well. That's rumbling under at the moment as to whether they are passing off or trading on the Starbucks trademarks. And I suspect that's more likely to shut them down, to be honest. Because if they found to be infringing, they just close them down. But it's an interesting one. You know, it's really why we fear this, because it's such a fine line, right? At the moment, if you parodied something, as your question was directed at, the original work that you're parodying would receive the income from it. So, in a sense, if it's not derogatory or really damning of the original work, you might say, oh well, whatever, I'm going to get the cash from it, right? But if it's then used, as some American rap artists are already using it, as an excuse for saying we can steal your original work and do our own version of it, and actually we then register that new version as a totally new song and we get all the income from it, that's a real slippery slope for us in this industry. It's being dealt with under the area of law called fair dealing, and in Europe, fair dealing is a very sort of common concept. Here we tend to use it quite narrowly to mean like a TV reporter could quote from some lyrics in a report. In classrooms like this, you can make copies or put up images